it in. I'll bring you into the convo.
If I have this on, is it going to catch yours or should I
Turn it on here.
Each one of them stations got a little trash can on the side.
Here we are back at Global Time Attack GTA Finals, Buttonwillow Raceway Park. We're about ready to go with the final session of the day. And leading them out is going to be Group 1, Session 4. So, as you guys know who've been watching, Group 1 is the fastest group out because we do lay it out by time index. Leading Group 1 right now is actually Cole Powelson from Life Motorsports, and we're lucky enough to have Mike McGinnis up here, who actually helps tune the vehicle, set it up. He's an end-all, be-all in the industry. So, Mike, thanks for being up here. How's things going for the Life team?
Thanks for having me, man. It's been a great day. We came out with a goal of running a 140 by the end of the day and then really getting after it tomorrow, but we're a little bit ahead of schedule and already got there, so we decided to stick her up for this last session, put some boost in the car, and I have a feeling we're going to see a significantly faster time, but we'll just have to wait and see.
You know, and that's exciting, but as a competitor, Cole knows everyone else is doing the same thing, right? We know Evasive has picked up 4 or 5 seconds. Professional Awesome is actually going to turn the boost up now. They went out with about 500 horsepower and some 4-year-old tires. Given this is from Mike Lewin, and any competitor knows, we don't really know what's in it, but Mike's a pretty straightforward guy. So we're just hoping for an exciting event here, as well as, you know, just like in Texas. We know everyone, when they do well here, it hypes them up and makes them ready to go out and go fast at the next event.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a big event for us as well, but certainly looking forward to Super Lap. And this year we're actually hoping to even get a test day in before Super Lap, which is something we don't usually do, but we're the guys are taking it real seriously. We're going to see what we can do this weekend and then look ahead to that event.
Has anything changed with Sydney since the last time it ran?
It has. If you haven't noticed, we've driven all day on the same drive shaft.
Okay.
So, yeah, really happy to be out there just turning laps. And we were able to do that because the guys had time to switch out the turbo kit, move the wastegates and some exhaust parts away from the drive shaft and the bell housing. That's all squared away. Car's working great today.
Well, and truth be told, that's been your gremlin, right?
Yeah.
Blew a drive shaft, set the record on a blown drive shaft, but blew a drive shaft in Texas. Had bell housing issues, input shaft issues at the Long Beach Grand Prix from heat, right? It blew a bearing out.
Yep.
And of course, everyone, you know, online, every internet racer on the planet's like, well, why don't you just move the dumps? But it's not that simple, right?
It's really not. And in that case, the Long Beach event kind of came together a little bit last minute, and the guys were in the middle of a bunch of project car builds for customers at the shop. And of course, that has to be the primary goal of the shop. So they weren't able to do a full swap out of the whole kit for Long Beach. So we kind of ended up just gingerly trying to make it through. We did what we could, but we're out here today with a whole new turbo kit. That problem solved, and we are going to run more power in this session than this car has ever driven with. So should be interesting.
I like that. And the thing about Cole in this track, he kind of has a history like Pro A does. He's never really had a perfect session here, right? There's always something fighting, though there's never a perfect lap. You're a driver yourself. For people that don't know, I think Mike holds the overall mile per hour record on the back straight at COTA. I'm pretty sure he broke into the 200 number, or very close to it. So Mike is a wheeler, but no one ever has a perfect session. But I feel just like Pro A, there's always that one thing that catches Cole out. We always call it the Buttonwillow curse for the non-natives. Something's always catching them out. So for you and the Life team to give them a car that's ready to go out and push, it's just super impressive from all of us up here.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is a really challenging track. Having gone over it now with a fine-tooth comb, being here in person, there's a whole lot more going on than meets the eye when you're just watching online. Just a whole lot of bumps, different camber changes, really complex systems of corners that follow each other, and there's a whole lot for Cole to manage out there. So giving him a car he can count on is really the name of the game, because he's got his hands full just with the track.
Well, and the one thing we can say about Cole, you know it, I know it, he is the epitome of a professional in the car. He takes it very seriously. I watched you guys on the track walk, and of course, me, John V, a few people are up here making the joke like, hey, Cole, walking a track he's driven 4,000 times. But that's how serious he takes it. And I saw you out there with him. You've seen this place on video. You've seen the data from them driving. it doesn't mean anything until you actually see the elevation of Buttonwillow, the way things are cambered, the corners you have to avoid. Can't even take the inside of Sunset. You hit it happened to him on his fastest lap. He hit the inside curb, unsettled the entire car. So if anyone knows it, he knows it. You've now seen it, and as a tuner and someone that helps set up the vehicle, that's got to be big. It helps you understand.
Yeah, absolutely. And fortunately on this vehicle, we do have G sensors and shock pots. So, when I see that the car broke the tires loose or something, I can look, well, was there also a big bump there, or was it just too much power? So we do have some extra data that helps, but anytime I'm looking at it on an overlay of the track map, and then thinking back to my track walk and, okay, well, this is what happened, but I know if he's 2 feet to the left next time around, maybe
it'll
we
be
can avoid
smooth
that.
and you can avoid
Be
it,
a little
keep
bit
the
better,
power in.
yeah.
So I asked Mike this question. I'll ask you the same thing. How do you feel about that Tesla Plaid with that Andrew Billion arrow on it?
It's super cool, man. I feel like we're living in the future watching it out here, and just fantastic to see. I know there isn't the engine sound, but I love just hearing like aero and tires, it's just different. It's cool.
No, and the big thing is you're going to read it online. Everyone has opinions. Oh, cars aren't manuals anymore. Everything's electric. But you, from an engineering standpoint and a tuning standpoint, seeing how much effort goes into the technology to actually make it function properly. There's Cole right there hitting the inside corner, getting sideways. Cole, one of the few people that's more comfortable sideways in a GTR than going straight.
Okay, that was a lot more spicy than before.
It was. He was actually dragging the splitter on the ground. He had your titanium skids. No other session he has, so he's obviously got some good speed going into it. Right there is Craig Coker in the Tesla Plaid, and what's crazy about him is he came from enthusiast to unlimited. He had a Model 3, and he crushed it in an enthusiast, and then he's like, yeah, I'm getting some aero built on my Plaid, and you don't think about it, then he just shows up and does a 43.
Nice. Yeah, it's phenomenal, really. And I noticed there's a supercharger on the property, so I'm sure that thing's fully juiced all day, every day.
Oh, and that's you know what? We were joking about that, but when he was here in his Model 3, there was no superchargers yet, so he'd have to drive to the Starbucks next to the Motel 6 that everyone stays at. So now he gets to go drive on property, charge it back up, go back out. We're going to try and follow the life car as much as possible. Hopefully our drone's set up there on the back end of the S's, because Cole has absolutely no issue going fast through bus stop to Riverside. If he can keep the sweeper clean and come through those S's, I think we're going to see a spicy lap time. I mean, you know what the car makes, you know what it has in it, and we've all seen how Cole drives. This is a record-setting car no matter where it goes.
Absolutely. We talked about this section here a bunch last time. Looks like he made a few adjustments there, and let's see how it looks coming out. All right.
He's scooting down the back straight. We'll go ahead and pick him up into Sunset right here. Ooh, coming in hot. See, that's what I love. This car stays planted, so when it's real squirrely like that. 137.972, guys.
I told you we were going to go fast.
He's only a tenth off of the unlimited all-wheel drive record held by Hagsma in another R35.
Yep.
So, and that's a whole different kind of car. David Hagsma's car, a different aero setup. It's incredible what. In Time Attack, you do this. You love it, how these cars look nothing alike. They're engineered nothing alike, and they just run such competitive lap times. I love this sport.
Absolutely, and I think we're seeing some really cool diversity at the top of the field today between the Tesla, the S2000, the GTR. I mean, you couldn't pick cars that are different, any more apart than those.
No, 100%. And the funny thing is, we do see the Pro All car coming in. He was coming down the front straight, and I heard him shift in a second. It's almost like it didn't go into gear. So I'm going to sit here and pray nothing is wrong with their car. S2000s are not something that we've ever considered to be unlimited fast.
Yeah.
They've competed in street, enthusiast, limited, and been incredible. But the argument on the internet always was, it's not the chassis for unlimited class.
I think we're seeing it today. I mean, there's quite a lot of potential there. The folks at Evasive have obviously put a ton of time into that project. It's a beautiful, beautiful car. Looks really well thought out, and I'm just really happy to see everything come together for them today. And
though we talk about it a lot here on the West Coast, life feels the same way. It's got to be the best looking S2000 in Time Attack right now.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just about going fast to a lot of us. It's about looking good. Life looks good while doing it. Pro A, though they home build everything. They look as good as possible doing it. Evasive looks great doing it. There's just something about a car that is SEMA show quality that comes out on track and crushes it. It's a part of the sport we love. So talk to me about the life car. It always comes back in, obviously, after the first hot lap.
Yep.
Is that a fuel thing, or do you want to get the whole thing cooled off?
It's a great question. So in this case, it is a fuel thing that forces us to do it, but ultimately we need to cool the car down anyway. He can go back out and do a second lap. On the second lap, our intake charge temps are always quite a bit warmer, water temperature quite a bit warmer. So we have to keep an eye on that. And honestly, we try to avoid doing 2 laps unless we really need it. But early in the day when we're running lower power and Cole's really just trying to get comfortable in the car and build that confidence up, it's a great tool to just build that up quicker. Then later in the day when we turn things up, Cole already knows this is 1 lap. He had his fun for today, and we'll get back at it tomorrow.
Well, it makes sense because he's already pulling in. He knows he's not going to lay another one. If you got that thing wicked all the way up, these programs aren't cheap. These motors aren't cheap. The car's not built to go out there and lay lap after lap. So unlike before, he goes back in. But to help the viewers, when the car comes in, you guys are walking around it. What is it you're looking at? Like, what is Pro A looking at right now when you have a car in the paddock?
Sure, right on. I'm not sure for the Pro A guys. They might be looking at something specific since they seem to be working through a couple quirks today. But in terms of the life car today, since we aren't having any problems, the main things we're looking for are we're going to check our tire pressures because, even though we use some tire warmers, we get the car out on track hot, we have a pretty good idea where we want to be. Depending on how Cole drives that first hot lap will impact the tire pressures, and then we may need to make an adjustment, drop him down a little bit before we send him out for the second run so that he doesn't go over pressure.
Oh, that makes total sense. And obviously, like you said, you have things like shock pots, IR temp sensors on the car. For those that don't know, a shock pot, it basically looks at the compression and rebound on the spring and shock itself. So you can see, hey, he's hitting a curb here and losing traction, or there was a bump on the course there. Maybe we try to avoid it on the next lap to go faster.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically there's a linear pot, which almost looks like a miniature strut, and it travels up and down as the wheel travels up and down, and we can see where the car is compressing, where it's releasing, and the rate at which those things are happening. That tells us how our shocks are working, if we maybe want to make an adjustment, and we haven't even got to that stage yet. So for now, we're just working on getting Cole really comfortable in the car, making sure the car is solid. Obviously, that was a bunch more power. I'll take a look at the log after this, but sure looks like it was running good to me.
It looked really good, and we're out of the money sessions, you know that. I've always said it, session 2 is probably the best because session 1 is 39 degrees, the sun hasn't warmed up the track yet. You're talking about a car that could be upwards of 4 digits of horsepower, even in an all-wheel drive setup. You own a GTR, you race a GTR. They're rear bias cars. People don't think that they can be spun. They're very easy for the rear to overtake the front. So I think the way you guys are setting it up with your time in it, you look at the logs, I think by session 2 tomorrow, Cole's, if he's ever going to set a record and blow it out of the water, it's going to be right then.
Yeah, and I think from what we've just seen with that 37.9, I think it's definitely in the car. I mean, for someone to go out and run more than 2 full seconds quicker than their last lap, that doesn't just happen and then there's nothing left. So I think we're in
talking
good
about
shape.
2 seconds at the pointy end of the time.
Yeah.
To go from a 2 to a 58, that's awesome. But to go from a 41 to a 39, to go from like a low 40 to a 30, a high 37, that's just incredible, considering the overall lap record here is a 37.3 or 37.4 by Will Out Young. So
yeah, and now I'll have the data, from that lap to go over with Cole. We'll talk about the driving, also hear his impressions where he thinks he has room to improve, and we'll put our heads together and we'll find those tenths tomorrow.
Well, and I think that's one of the coolest things. It's awesome. Pro A is starting a flyer now. Whatever it is, they got to figure it out. I think one of the really cool things about someone like Cole, you've obviously worked with him, we've all talked to him, is he's so humble, right?
Yeah.
If he makes a mistake, he tells you, like, hey, I could have been faster in this corner. I dug too deep into this one. I hit the brakes too early. So as a tuner, that helps you because you're not just looking at the data, right? You're taking the driver's input. So you're like, oh, well, he already knows he could have gone deeper here. Let's talk about this,
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, today he was feeling the pressure. He knows how far he is from where he wants to be. And I know it was tough for him to get out the car and push that hard. Anytime you go that much faster all at once, there's definitely some nerves there. So kudos to Cole for really going out there and sending it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And talking about sending it, this is Tom O'Gorman here in the Pro A Evo. He has not set laps in this car for your knowledge. Last time he drove this was 2018 here at Buttonwillow. To put into perspective, Tom had never driven this car, showed up first lap, did a 40.5.
amazing.
You know Tom O'Gorman, we all know him. He's a shoot, okay?
Oh, yeah.
But to get into a car that is at that caliber, manual brakes, you know, it's the transmission you've never dealt with, aero that's new to you, and just lay down a 40 like that and end the event at a 38, unheard of, you know? So
Yeah.
for them, they've made some small changes, trying to get Tom comfortable. I'm unsure if they're on stickers yet, but I think the Pro A team is someone that can confidently say they could sit here and beat Cole, and I know Cole feels that. He's not here saying that I'm the golden child. He's here saying he has to prove he's the fastest.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's, and again, I don't think we've seen the best of the evasive car yet either. So we are definitely not going to rest on our laurels. I'll be real happy with that 37.9, but we're going to have to be on our game tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. And like right there, you just had Tom O'Gorman pick 4.5 seconds off his last lap from the session before, just laid a 42.8. Evasive, you guys, you've had the entire day to work up to these times. This is Tom's actual first flyer. So he's he has that ability, like we always say Jeff Westphal did and other people did, to just get in a car and go fast. So even though you guys did a 37.9, I know in the back of Cole's head that's not enough. He needs more.
No, absolutely. He doesn't want to leave without the record either. So we're here for that.
We're not talking the unlimited all-wheel drive record. He wants to leave with the record.
That's right. That's right. And we've been told that, as a reminder, it is currently held by a Canadian.
This is the problem. I said the same thing to Michael Lewin. I said, look, I understand that they're your people, you know, Midwesters, cold folk. Bring it back to America, my friend. This is America's time attack track, and you're going to let one of our snow friends up north hold the record?
That's it. We got to take it back and then make our snow friends come back and fight us for it, because we miss them too.
Will, great competitor, great guy. I mean, honest to God. But you know, he sits here and he hopes that someone beats it because Will wants to see the sport, progress. But in the back of his head, when it's over and he still holds it, he's like, "Yeah, that's right."
Oh, for sure, absolutely. And you know, and I would love to see James Houghton come down as well and see what he can do.
Man, so that was the most heartbreaking thing with COVID. We still ran our events, obviously, but the borders closed. We had so much competition from these guys. And the great thing is, we're talking about a Honda Civic that holds the overall. To break those stigmas, that's why I asked you about the Tesla. To break those stigmas and go, yeah, the fastest car around here is a 9th Gen Civic Si. Two-door. You know, and even the two-doors are the bastard childs. Everyone wants the four-door for the wheelbase, for everything. So seeing James Houghton, who has been competing in an Evo up north, I don't know, I'm sure you follow him. You've been talking to him. He's been doing great in that Evo. We do want to see the heritage, the history, though. We want to see Will fighting James, you know, like the drama it brings. Like any motorsport. We watch F1, we watch it for the drama, okay? The racing, pretty boring. But the drama with it. Same thing here. Like oh my God, James is in the lead, or Will, or shit, here comes Cole taking the record.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I used to race with those guys back in 2013 up in the Canadian series, and they would always be back and forth. And then, you know, for a few years they were doing different race series, not competing head to head, but I would love to see them both come back here or at Superlap and put on a show.
Texas would be great. You know, I don't think we've got to really see Will at Superlap put a full effort in. He brought his limited class RSX, which anyone who says it's a B car is out of their mind. That thing is, you know, the 10/10ths of a limited class build. But just to see him out there and to see James in either the Evo, which I think it fits more in a limited class, though a few things are holding it. But to see James out there in a fully built car, to see you guys and, you know, knock on wood, see Pro A make it through this weekend. Mike basically confirmed it. If they can get through this weekend and put down good numbers and come home with a car that's in one piece, we're going to see him in Texas.
Fantastic. And, I mean, I'm sure we're going to see Ferris in Texas, too. So
that's the heartbreak right now, that we don't have Ferris here right now.
Yeah, it's really a bummer. Fortunately, I did get to see him at the SEMA show, and, you know, he would love to be here. Couldn't make it happen, but we will see him at Superlap. And what I would like to see is either 2 or 3 cars go sub 2.
Oh, absolutely. We know it for a fact. We're not even close to the time delta that a time attack car can hit at Superlap Battle. You know what I mean? Yeah. Circuit City America is so incredibly different than any other time attack track. The cars that are set up for this or Road Atlanta, they're so much more straight there, but you have to be able to make it down the back straight, but still grip through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, still be able to hold on the triple apex right-hander, 17, 18, 19. I mean, it's your home track basically.
Yeah.
So you, of all people, have driven it enough. At the end of the day, as that continues to come together, these cars are just going to go faster and faster there. And I think that's what it is. I mean, it's just like any grid life event, the big festival events that people love. It's such an extreme event with such big names and things going on. It just makes you happy to be there as a fan, a competitor, someone on a team, a tuner. It's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And from what I've heard about the vehicle lineup this year, not just in the unlimited class, but some pro comp cars that are going to show up, and really big, spectacular. I'm excited personally.
100%, and it's growing every year. It's getting better every year. I just think it's great for the sport. You know, this is such a niche sport. We live it, we breathe it. You as someone who runs a business just in motorsports in general, for you to put so much effort into something like this just shows that you love the sport.
That's it, man.
We don't make money doing this. Right. That we do it because we love it. The amount of investment that life has in bringing you out here, the amount of investment that Will is on version 3 of the car now. No one's going to sit here and try and deny the amount of investment he's put into that. So I really think that seeing these cars at the pointy end of the field make everyone else want to push harder.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just so thrilled for the team at Life. They worked so hard pushing at the other events, and today just to see them out there having time between sessions to hang out and enjoy what the car is doing today is fantastic. But they've also got a lot of work to do before Super Lap. They're going to be back at it at the shop, and we're determined to go, however fast we go this weekend, the car will absolutely be better when we show up to COTA.
Oh, I don't doubt it. And I think the best part for your standpoint, because you actually have data, they're not on jack stands with an electrical gremlin. Parts aren't breaking, because you know what? The drive shaft thing sucked, but before that, the year before, it's all electrical gremlins. Like he puts his foot to the floor, nothing happens. That's got to make you want to tear your hair out, because you just want to make the car faster, and it's just not doing what you're telling it to do.
Yeah, and obviously they've put a lot of time into that. We actually had a little bit of a scare with some electrical before this event. It turns out it was just a case where there was an issue at Long Beach at the last event, and unfortunately the issue can't be replicated without driving the car at full throttle, and that's not something you can do sitting on the lift. So
correct.
We waited until the new turbo kit was on, until I was there to make sure the engine was running properly with it, and sure enough the issue was still there despite replacing some stuff. So the guys at the shop worked through it with me. We nailed it, and that's why we're turning laps today.
No, it's good, and I know I know you and them wanted to be here for the practice day.
Yeah.
And I got the text saying that Life texted they're not making practice, but they're 100% making the event. And I'm like, all right, as long as they're making the event. But so you're basically using day one as what you would have used Friday for.
Exactly, yeah, and that's why we're really thrilled. Again, today the goal was to run a 140, just set us up for tomorrow, and we're much further along. So I'm feeling really good about it. I'm sure Cole is really feeling the pressure off now, which I think will be a big deal for him tomorrow. Just come in, relax. And I think, like you said, that second session tomorrow, we'll probably stick her up on that one and really give it full
get
send.
you a little bit of data in session one. Obviously send it, but the track's going to be cold. I think weather reports show it's even supposed to be a little colder tomorrow, which is terrible because it was 34 this morning here. So
yeah, fortunately, it looks like we'll have some sun. So I think by the time second session rolls around, we'll be in pretty good shape. And if it's just not warm enough, then that third session, the first one after lunch, we'll just really go for it then. I do have a bit of power in reserve if we really want to use that to get it a little further, but I have a hunch that's the first time Cole's ever driven the car with that much power. He's probably going to come back and tell me, like, man, it was a little wild.
Yeah,
like I think tomorrow, I'll know a little better what the car's going to do, and I can push a little harder in these spots. So we'll put it all together and see if we can come out with a low 37.
No, that'd be great. I mean, honestly, anything that surpasses the record now, even if it's by a tenth, at the end of the day, it just progresses. It gives someone like Will, like, damn, I have to drive another 38 hours to Buttonwillow, California, and set another record. And that's what we want. Yeah. We want to push Texas to the point where everyone's like, shit, I gotta go put my name on the leaderboards right now. And with teams like Life, Texas local Ferris, he shows up to the very first Super Lap in an NA LS7 car, wins a turbo, and ruins his life.
Yeah.
There's no difference there. I remember he wins the turbo, reaches out to Garrett, makes it 2. And he's been basically winning events ever since. Yeah,
really phenomenally what he's done with that car. And I think this year he really nailed down some reliability stuff that had been hurting him. He put in laps at so many tracks this year. Really impressive. He told me he had the same engine in the car all year, which is fantastic for the amount of power he's running. And I know for sure he is going to be 100% ready for Super Lap. So,
zero doubt. He was ready
yeah.
to come here. I don't know. I'm sure you know Ferris pretty well, but I've been telling this to the fans. He grew up watching his dad race here at Buttonwillow. So for him not to be able to come here, you know, life happens. We understand it. It is what it is. This is a sport that we love, but it doesn't mean it takes precedent over everything. But for him to not be able to make it this year, that means he's just going to come fired up to Texas. He couldn't show it at Buttonwillow. He's going to be double prepared for Texas. I don't think we're going to see him under the car. I think we're going to see him in the car making it happen.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And really, I mean, you know, when I saw his lap from Super Lap last year, and you know, a lot of the time a driver will say, man, you know, I made a huge mistake and the car could have gone a full second faster, and really it wasn't that bad. Ferris wasn't exaggerating when he said he made some mistakes. I saw his lap. He knows what that car can do. He ran a 203. He says he's going under 2. I 100% believe it. It's just a question of how far it goes.
Well, because I believe it's a comparison of Road America, right? A lot of professional drivers on race teams will compare their times at Road America to what a baseline of what they could be at COTA. And he set the production car record at Road America, if I'm not mistaken. I've watched the lap. You've watched the lap. I remember he sent it to me afterwards before he posted it, and he's like, I'm so incredibly mad right now. And to a regular person, you'd be like, wow, he was flying. But you see it, I see it. He made a couple small things, and it compounds, right? You make a one mistake somewhere, it just compounds, it slows you down. It's like here, this is your first time here, but I'm sure you see it on the plots. If you're fast from Cotton Corners to Phil Hill, that's a lap right there, because this is where you carry all the speed. Sure, Cole wants to rubber stamp it in the S's. He wants to be really clean over here, but there to there. And you gave him the power, and he stuck it, and he did a 37.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see Ferris both at Super Lap and at Buttonwillow next year. I love to come back. I mean, whatever we leave with this weekend, you're never done, right?
Oh, there will never be a day where someone says they did a perfect lap. And if they did, I'll call them a liar. You know, it's I got to ask you before I let you leave out of here. Do you ever plan on competing again?
Man, I would love to. I still have my old Subaru. You know, I've seen kind of how things have progressed and the lap times that are being run at the tracks in the Northeast that I used to race at. And I know that car is still pretty competitive if I just run it exactly how it was. But
awesome.
I do have some things in the works.
Well, I know it's hard to compete in the GTR. You know what I mean? You have a GTR, you're trying to fit within a rule set and a tire size. Your GTR is not built for unlimited class. So for you, and I've been telling this to people, they always ask, I'm like, Mike McGinnis's car, his lap times were super incredible. His speeds were great, but he basically shoehorned that car into the class. It's just for the power level you make, for the design of the car, you just don't have enough tire.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, I never really intended to make that a full race car, right? So I went as far as I could, keeping it a really nice street car that has air conditioning and radio and literally nothing taken out of it. I'm pretty happy with what I did, and I'm ready to move on from that and get back to my Subaru at some point.
No, that's great, man. So I want you to go get back with life, pull the data on that car. Actually, before you leave, I have a question for you, because I already hit you with the electric car. How do you feel about the old school versus new school? You obviously help with an R35, but how do you feel about things like Porsche GT3s and R8s and C7 Z06s coming out and just laying down flyers fresh out of the box?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it obviously, I love to see a full race car, but anytime I can see someone, you know, for example, like Sean in that Corvette, you know, it's really not that crazy a car, and he's putting in amazing times. Obviously, the Tesla is probably the wildest example. Obviously, that engine ain't tuned, so it's just doing what it does. Obviously, you know, they've put some effort into suspension and the other systems, but really pretty incredible that you can leave whole main systems in the car alone completely and put in times like that. I see the R8 going out on track right now. I know one thing, it's going to be the best sounding thing out there for sure.
Absolutely. You know what? And I get flamed sometimes. I miss the R8 that came with the V8 because it was such a formula style engine, but that V10 sounds good.
Even better with 2 turbos.
You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. So, guys, this was Mike McGinnis. Mike, if you want to let people really quick, go ahead and give yourself a shout out. Tell everyone here, I'm telling you he's the tuner, obviously, but what you don't know is Mike, what he does, his business. Let everyone know about yourself really quick before I kick you out of my booth.
Sure, thanks, man. So I'm out here today doing engine calibration and race engineering, looking over the data, helping Cole, the driver, you know, figure out where he can optimize his performance, and then talking to the team and consulting on, you know, mechanical changes, adjustments we might want to make. Other than that, I also do product R&D. I do some stuff that's totally different, including carb emissions compliance, like helping companies that make performance products make them legal so they can actually sell them to you guys. So that's a little bit about me. Innovativetuning.com is my website. If you want to check it out, you can hit me up through there or on Facebook.
Absolutely. And for those of you that don't know, Mike McGinnis is the kind of guy that's the face behind a team. He doesn't necessarily want the fame. He doesn't want anyone to know who he is. He's a hard worker. Honestly, at the Long Beach Grand Prix, I had to find him. He was working so hard on that car. I had to find him to say hello. But he's a race car driver at heart. He loves this industry. He loves what we do. And us at GTA, all the fans, all the teams, we thank you for what you do for not just life, the sport in general. And thanks so much for being up here.
Thanks so much for having me.
So far, we do have Group 2, Session 4 out on track. This is Group 2, Session 4. This is going to be their final 20 minutes to set a flyer. We're still looking at the battle between Thomas Smith and Johnny Hernandez. The BMW M4 with Amir and Will driving is back out there. It looks like whatever little gremlins they got, they took care of in the garage, and they're out there ready to set it fly. There we have Thomas Smith with his first flying lap, a 149.855. He has gone a little bit faster this session, or this day, but we're here towards the end of the day. Everyone's trying to set their fastest lap before they pack it up and look over the data, look over their videos, see where they can improve. A lot of these drivers absolutely do bring tires for both days. Shoot, some teams, especially at the pointy end of the stick, bring tires for every other session. But as these drivers are bringing tires, bringing data, as much stuff as they can, they want to at least run as many sessions as the car will allow. So it gives them more things to look over. It does look like Thomas Smith is going to be fastest of this session with a 49.8. Have a few teams in here with the pits. Looks like Oscar Jackson in the Novak Racing GT3 is getting checked out. The RS Future BMW M4 being driven, I believe, right now by Amir is... Oh, actually, by Will Dries is coming in. They ran a 52, so the car is absolutely holding together. That is Will Dries in there. I'll recognize that helmet anywhere. But it looks like they are 100% ready to keep pushing that. Probably one of the better looking cars here. Obviously, RS Future Aero, front and rear. They always make beautiful components. Art of Attack does a great job of finishing cars and making them good. Not just making them fast, but making them appeal to everybody who's watching. So much respect to them and all the effort they're putting in. Looks like Jose Mejia in the Art of Attack Civic is also back out there. I know they were dealing with some gremlins. It seemed to be electrical. They were looking for a battery to borrow to see if their battery was bad. So seeing these guys out here doing a great job, pushing all the way to the final session of the day to be able to get that data, get everything they need to go fast tomorrow is great. Thomas Smith, about a second off his fastest lap. No, about 4/10 off his fastest lap. Clayton Yates must have been on a cool down because he's 20 seconds off. He was ran a 150.3. Now he did a 2:10.9. Jose Mejia still moving, though. Did a 150.946 on his first lap. So whatever gremlins they have, he's obviously working through them. Art of Attack team there with Jose Mejia going over the car. Looks very simple, just a tire pressure check, probably going to send them right back out. They do a great job of setting those cars up, so just making sure the pressures are equalized and ready to go lay it down again is going to be great. Oscar's really been pushing this GT3 nonstop. It's been great to see him consistently running the same lap times, even going faster and faster multiple laps in. Johnny Hernandez coming through the start-finish rather slow. He had a really big off right there through Sunset. Came in really hot, went 4 off in the dirt, so he's going to get offline to make sure he doesn't leave any dirt online for the following guy, and then come back in to get the car checked out. That's indicative of how hard he's pushing to try and catch up to Thomas Smith in street class. Both rocking Subarus, both trying to be at the top step of the podium. George Zhao in that R8 with a 151.527. This is JP Armour right there in his BMW 2JZ powered. He's laid down a 151.578 in that car. It's a very mild build from the outside. If you look at it, regular wing, very small front splitter, just a lot of driver mod, and JP's doing a great job. Those of you that have been following Global Time Attack and Buttonwillow Racing here for a while will know he's really well known for being out here in his Evo, for helping Daniel Albrecht in his Subaru, and for him to come out in another car he built, that's great. You know, 2JZ powered 3 Series 2, you can't be upset about that. Looks like we are back towards the final 5 minutes of this session. Currently leading is Thomas Smith with a 149.855, a bit slower than his fastest lap. Clayton Yates with a 150.250. It does look like Johnny Hernandez is going back out for another flyer. After his off, he came in, got checked out, and was ready to go lay it down. This whole session is actually incredibly close. Thomas Smith all the way to Johnny Hernandez is from a 149.8 to a 151.9. Only a couple tenths away from each driver, which it makes it very, very difficult for us to rack these guys. They're obviously proving they're all competitive. keep you guys abreast. This is Group 2, Session 4. This is the final session of this day. Global Time Attack GTA Finals here at Buttonwillow Raceway Park. We just had Group 1 go out and Cole Powelson lay down a 37.9, puts him in reach of both the unlimited all-wheel drive record, but within a little over half a second of the overall record. We had Mike McGinnis up here talking about the life program, and it does look like they really threw a bunch of power at it in that session, and they want to make sure that, one, the car is running great, which it is, and two, give Cole a chance to really push at those power levels. So he's going to go down there, he's checking out all the data, and hopefully tomorrow in the first two sessions we see them possibly break the overall. Coming as a spoiler, though, is Professional Awesome with Tom O'Gorman. Tom has already run a 42 in this car here at this event, and the only sessions he had are 3 and 4. They got him here a little bit late, so had a little schmozzle go on, but he made it here. Did a few installation laps in session 3, did a 46 on some very old tires and low boost, sent him out on some newer tires and already in the 42s. Tom has actually ran a 38 here before, so he knows the car, he knows the track. It's all about getting it together for him. As soon as he gets a little bit more comfortable in those 2 morning sessions tomorrow, I think it's a really high probability we're going to see the overall record fall. Only problem with that is we thought the same thing last year. David Hagsman with a high 37, mid 37 actually holds the unlimited all-wheel drive record, but he was not able to go back out and set another lap. So we do hope with an entire day left and people already knocking on the overall records door, cars stay together, teams are able to look over the data, look over the lap times, look over their video, any little thing they have to try and get some kind of thought process on where they can pick up time and see the overall record fall, along with class records and drivetrain records as well. That's JP Armour right there in his 2JZ powered 3 Series, really pushing through the truck stop and bus stop complex. This right here is Riverside. It's a banked corner. The amount of banking is dependent on where on the track you are, and he was really high on that going around the R8. So he not only has a lot of confidence in the setup of his car, but in himself to be able to continue to push in that exact area. We're going to watch him go around sweeper, come through the S's, and set his final lap type of the session, as this is a checkered flag session. This lap will count. After that, he'll be done. Really smooth out of the last corner of the S's, carrying a good amount of speed down the back straight. This is one of the hardest corners on the track. Anyone who's driven it will tell you you can't hit the apex too hard. It dips down, it unsettles the car. You have to turn in relatively early, and it looks so open, you really just want to go hard, and then you end up going 4 off on the right. It does look like he was just shy of his fastest. He did a 52.4 that lap. He's a 51.5 fastest overall. That's going to be the final laps here of this session. So we're going to have Thomas Smith leading another session overall with a 149.855. Clayton Yates with a 150.250. Amir Bentatow and Will Drees, with Will Drees driving in a 150.808 in the RS Future M4, Art of Attack RS Future M4. George Zhao with a 150.8 in his Audi R8. Jose Mejia in the Art of Attack Civic Type R at a 150.9. JP Armour with a 151.578. Oscar Jackson in the Novak Racing GT3 at a 151.8, and Johnny Hernandez at a 151.968. Very competitive session. 2 seconds from first to last. It is very, very strong field out there. Here we have Group 3, Session 4 going out. This is Group 3 going out. Being led out by Jarrell Natividad. Followed by Jake Graham in his WRX. Going to be Zachary Sober in another WRX. Sofian Fraval in his Tesla Model 3. Aaron Gong in his Subaru BRZ. What we do see here also is the Project Import team was not only able to get the car back together, but they also got the fender back on. It looks like they're ready to go out and lay another flyer. I know they've been fighting some gremlins, some braking issues, but it looks like Kevin is out in the car and ready to go fast. So hopefully they got it all sorted and they're ready to lay down a flyer. And here we go, coming down the front straight, Jarrell Natividad starting his first flyer. Followed closely by Jake Graham. Zachary Sober pushing down the front straight, trying to lead another session. He was at the very top of Group 4. He's in Group 3 now with quite faster cars than the group he was in, but he definitely wants to push as hard as he can. Sofian Fraval, followed by Aaron Gong. Here we have Kevin Courtney crossing start finish, followed by Joseph Nacion. Jarrell looking really good out there, pushing through Phil Hill. Going to hit that sweeper, try to stay matted through the S's, try to lay down a faster lap time. His inaugural street class debut has been incredible. He's been laying down flyers. He's really stepped up from the enthusiast to street game, and it shows. He's put in a lot more effort. The amount of time he's put into his car, the amount of time he's put into his driving, it's great to see drivers out here really pushing the limit. Same with Jake Graham. Jake Graham has been really inch by inch, event by event, going faster and faster. And like when we spoke with Mike Lewin, he said it himself. He said they've put a lot of time and effort into that car. It's good to see them go faster and continue the trend. Jarrell with a 152.717. There we have Joseph Nacion right behind Kevin Courtney in the Project Import S2000 in his Evo 8. See what kind of time Zachary Sober can lay down. A 207. I'm guessing he had a little bobble in the back because he is significantly faster than that. Sofian with a 158.856. Aaron Gong with a 2 flat. William Huang with a 201.317. Kevin Courtney had a little bit of a lockup there going into Sunset, but laid down a 157.220, followed by Joseph at a 158.047. Here comes Mark Lager with his 203.238. That'll be the final first lap here in this run group. Looks like the Project Import car is back together and running well because Kevin's pushing even harder on this lap. He had a small lockup going into Sunset, so hopefully he hasn't put a little flat spot on that tire. He'll be able to drive through that and not lock up in the same spot. Jarrell Natividad went a little bit slower, but Jake Graham, on the other hand, did a 51.995. He picked up lap time on his second lap. There's Aaron Gong going across start finish. Joseph Nacion at a 58.397, about 0.3 off his fastest. Looks like Jarrell Natividad is on a cool down. I saw him pushing for the majority of a lap, but he slowed it down going down the front straight. So probably cooling it down, may have bobbled the lap and decided not to push the car too hard. It's a pretty common thing. Looks like Jake Graham is consistently pushing close to his lap times. He had a 51.9, just did a 52.3. So he has definitely found a pace in that car that he's comfortable driving in. I bet you tomorrow we will see him significantly or a good amount faster. His team does this now every event. They will find their limit of day one, and then they'll go even faster day two. Zachary Sober still on track. While we're sitting here, we wanted to get you guys a few standings. So let's start an enthusiast class. Zachary Sober leading the field with a 55.0. Safyan Fraval in his Model 3 with a 57.6. Very impressive with that stock body Model 3. Aaron Gong just nipping on the heels of that Tesla. So he really wants to get up on this podium. Aaron really pushes hard. He's consistently going faster. He does a great job with his program and his team. It's great to see him on this podium. Street class is still as competitive as can be. Robert Robles at a 48.4. Thomas Smith right there about half a second behind at a 48.9. And Johnny Hernandez still trying to crack into the 40s. Tomorrow, early sessions, we may see these times drop even more. So the biggest guy I want to keep an eye on is Jarrell Natividad. He is absolutely going faster. And now that he's comfortable in the car, there's a good chance tomorrow morning we'll see him go faster also. Kevin Burke still leading limited class in his Rockstar Garage S2000 with a 147.364. Gary Wong, though, right on his heels. This is the battle that we're going to see early tomorrow. All of these pointy end cars that are really high strung and want to run their lap times in optimal temperatures. Session 1, Session 2, if we're going to see these change, that's when it's going to be. Will Dries in the RS Future Art of Attack BMW M4 down to a 150.7. So he's really put himself within shot of a podium, and anyone who knows Will knows that if it's possible, he can make it happen. Cole is the man of the hour, though, a 137.972. He is a couple tenths off the unlimited all-wheel drive record, about half a second off the overall record. We were talking with Mike McGinnis earlier. They're doing everything in their power to take as much data and information as possible. Cole had some recon laps. The last session, he really pushed it as hard as he could with the data they had now and all of the information they had, because they were not able to make it to the practice day because of some electrical gremlins. To be able to be in the 37s right now is great. Dayo Shahara right there in third behind Sean Cagle, who ran a 140.9. Sean's program does not play around. Those guys are here to win, to be as fast as possible. He knows what it's like to stand on that top step of the podium here, and he wants to do it again. Dye in the evasive team, though, they're really opening people's eyes to the S2000 chassis and what it can really do at the pointy end of the stick. Tom O'Gorman, though, in the Pro A team, finally got to lay down some laps in anger, not on old tires, not on low boost, and he's already in the 42s. This is at the end of the day where the track isn't the cleanest, so to see him tomorrow morning, Session 1, Session 2, I think we're going to have an interesting fight for the top step tomorrow. Ryan in Pro Comp still laying it down, though, with a 54.6. I don't know how much more time he has left in the car, but I can tell you from the first session to his final lap, he picked up multiple seconds. So that old BTCC car, Fujitsubo Subaru, is definitely still laying it down. That's that Project Import S2000 in the shot right there going into Riverside. They brought it back in, went over it really quick. Saw them go to the pits, actually, the cold pits where they're parked. May have had to add fuel, may have had to make a few adjustments, but they are already back out. They still have about 5 minutes to continue to lay down some lap times, so let's see how well Kevin can really drop it. And then he has all of tomorrow to really put it in. Kevin, who hasn't been in competition in a while, he's a great driver. He really understands not only driving in competition, but the S2000 chassis. It's what he raced for so long. If there's anyone out there that can really lay down laps in that car, it's going to be him. That right there is a great shot of the setup of bus stops. So you hear us talk about wanting to carry as much seat as possible, staying to the right there, jumping the curb. You can't see what the in-car sees, but at least you could see how intricate that complex really is. When you see it from the side, all you see is the car swaying left and right. There's a lot of little spots you have to hit correctly in the car to be able to stay matted. There's the Project Import S2000 coming in. He laid down another lap, so the car is still running well. Whatever gremlins they had, they're obviously working through. It's good to see the team and Kevin able to continuously put down laps. That's only going to make them faster. As you can see, it looks like they found a piece of aluminum sheet metal to be able to fix that bumper area so the fender had something to mount to. It's very, very ingenious. I'm sure they found that from someone in the paddock. All the talk we've had about time attack teams helping each other out, it's really true. It's not just for say, it's not just for show. People want to see other people go fast, and if it just takes a little bit of material out of their trailer to make it happen, they'll do it in a heartbeat. It does look like that's going to be the checker flag, a Group 3 here in Session 4. Jake Graham leading the session, a 151.995 in his Subaru, followed by Jarrell Natividad at a 152.717 in his A90 Supra. Zachary Sober behind them in his Enthusiast Class Subaru WRX at a 155.269. Kevin Courtney able to go out there in the Project Import S2000 and lay down a 157.2. It gives them a good data point, somewhere to pick up from tomorrow and go faster. Joseph Nacion at a 158.047 in his Street Class Evo. Safian Fraval at a 158.856 in his Model 3. Aaron Gong at a 159.075. William Huang at a 201.317. And Mark A. Lager at a 203.238. Joseph right there really pushing around the track. He's already been given the checkered, so it looks like he just wants to go fast. Funny enough, Aaron Gong picks up 2 spots in this session with a 57.816 on that final lap. He started the flyer right before checker came out, and he took every bit of advantage of it. Here we have Group 4 going out for their final session of the day. While these guys are out there getting their warm-up laps in, let's go over what tomorrow's schedule looks like. We'll be starting at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. live. We'll be hot here at 7:50 to 7:55, so make sure to be ready to see Group 1 go out. The first and second session for Group 1 and 2 are going to be the money sessions, so make sure you don't miss those. From 8 to 10, we're going to be rocking Group 1. We'll have a little finals group from 9:40 to 10. Then we'll go into Group 2 at 10:05. Lunch will start. I think we'll take a quick break in there, but this is tomorrow's schedule. While we're here, I also want to go over our sponsors. Obviously, without our sponsors, without our competitors, we wouldn't be who we are today. So huge shout out to Yokohama Tire, Garrett Advancing Motion, Ray's Wheels, Ineos Oils, Ignite Racing Fuels, Competition Clutch, CSF, Superlap Battle, Revolution Media, and Meister Watches. This is tomorrow's schedule. We'll put it back up for you at the end also in case you want to take a quick look at it. Also, if you're trying to figure out who to follow or what group a person you want to follow is in, go to racehero.io or download the Race Hero app. Every time we restack the grid, it goes directly to Race Hero. That way, not only the drivers can see it, but everyone watching their favorite drivers can too. Dustin Kent laying down some laps in anger, fastest in the session so far, a 158.699, followed closely by Alex Roy at a 59.847, and Corey Kreider in his GD hatchback 202.247. Sergio Perez with a 202.720 in his A90 Supra. Carly with a 211, followed by Young T and Jeffrey Ting in the auto-tuned EK Civic at a 201.755. Looks like we may have a car off in turn 1 or near there. I have a yellow flag on the starter, but he's already put it away, so whatever it is, probably someone going 4 off on the right, just making sure he's out of the way and safe before we allow the cars to go green. There's Alex Roy saying another fast lap at a 58.699. He actually matched Dustin Kent to the thousandth. Dustin's still in the lead, so there's obviously a 4th digit we can't see, but that's pretty cool. 58.699 from 2 limited class competitors, Dustin Kent and Alex Roy. Let's get today's standings up where we stand so far. We have a couple really fast lap times going. So far in enthusiast class, Zachary Sober has actually reset the enthusiast all-wheel drive record. If I am not mistaken, which is very possible, he's actually reset the enthusiast overall record that was held by Dom Bautista since 2015. So it's great to see that one finally fall. Great job, Zach, and your team. Robert Robles with a 48.427 in street class. The street class overall and rear-wheel drive record is a 44.4. That's Amir Bentatu right there, really laying it down last year before he took his car to unlimited class. But street rear-wheel drive is a 44. Sorry, street all-wheel drive is a 46, and street front-wheel drive is a 50. So Thomas Smith has a couple seconds to pick up to try and take the street all-wheel drive record. Kevin Burke, limited class. The limited rear-wheel drive record is a 144.292 held by Ferris Khartoumi. He's a few seconds off of that, but that Rockstar Garage car is hooked up, and I know he's got a few things under his sleeve to try and get a little bit more out of it, so we do expect him to go faster. He knows himself he has to, though, because Gary Wong is right on his tail. Cole with a 37.9. Now, Cole is chasing 2 records at once here. He obviously wants the overall record, but the unlimited all-wheel drive record was set by David Hagsma at a 37.7. He's only 2/10 off of that. The overall record is a 37.3, about 6/10 off of that. He has the ability to break them both. He could take both records tomorrow in the first or second session, and he would be able to leave the day on top. Except Tom O'Gorman has something to say about that. He is also chasing the overall and all-wheel drive record. He does seem to be 4th on the standings, so if those of you are wondering why I'm talking about him instead of 2nd or 3rd, Tom has actually done a 38 here in this car before. He's only ran 1 session today, and one session, true session, not on old tires or shaking it down. So they have a lot they can take care of. I know they're going to go over the data, make sure everything's ready to go for tomorrow. Sean Cagle in the C5 Corvette fixed roof coupe, honestly, the most impressive program out here. What they've done with that car and that program, doing a 40.9. I know they really want that 39, so they have 2 sessions tomorrow to make it happen. And Dayo Shahara, fastest S2000 around Buttonwillow. I believe before that it was Graham Downey at a 145. So he's gone 4 seconds faster than the fastest S2K around Buttonwillow. And, of course, you can't forget our boy Ryan, a 154.606 out there in the BTCC Subaru Fujitsu Boat car. Alex Roy, man, with a 58.000 leading this session. Went a little bit faster than Dustin Kent with a 58.674. Dustin had a small off 2 sessions ago, and he basically lost his front bumper and any front arrow he may have had on the car. So for him to continuously go faster in that car with no front end really shows the effort they put into it, but what the car had, and a little bit more seat time with him and getting things squared away, we will absolutely see that car continue to go faster. Young T and Jeffrey Ting in their exhibition class auto-tuned DK Civic with a 159.728, third fastest in this session. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us here at GTA Finals Day 1. This is going to be the end of our session. It looks like the last car is coming in. They did their cool down lap. The track is going to go cold right now. This is tomorrow's schedule. For anyone who's trying to follow someone specifically, we will update all the final times in Race Hero, and you'll be able to see what group every driver is in. If you're trying to follow someone specifically, make sure you stay tuned for that group. Group 1 at 8 a.m. and Group 1 again at 9:40 are going to be the ones to watch to break this overall record. Those are going to be the money sessions. If they're going to break any records, it's probably going to happen then. Stay with us. We'll be here all day tomorrow. Thank you so much for being with us. Big shout out to Yokohama Tire, Garrett Advancing Motion, Ray's Wheels, Ineos Oils, Ignite Race Fuels, Competition Clutch, CSF Radiators, Superlap Battle, Revolution Media, and Meister Watches. My name is Cuban Rodriguez. This is the Day 1 GTA Finals. We'll catch you again tomorrow, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We should be ready for us to go live around 7:50, 7:55. Thank you so much.